Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Beast! Peekaboo. I see you because I'm YouTube famous now. Available 2026, the album, Dad. Shimmy, shimmy, and the theme song of Olivia Plath. I wanna rock and roll all night and party every day. Peace. How are you guys doing today? I cannot believe that I'm sitting here doing drama videos about Olivia Plath. And I have to say that I was sitting on the phone a little earlier and I was talking to one of my friends on the phone. And she said, "What videos are you doing today?" And so I was telling her about what videos I was filming. And she said, like, well, what's going on? Because if you guys have watched me for a long time, I've had this channel over here for over 9 years, and I have done influencer drama, and I have done beauty influencer drama, and I've talked about the Jeffree Stars of it all, and the Trisha Paytas's of it all, and on and on and on, and I've talked about James Charles of it all. I've talked about the Jaclyn Hills of it all. I've talked about all the YouTube influencers and TikTokers and stuff like that. And so my friend said to me, she goes, "Well, who are you going to talk about today in your drama video?" And I said, Olivia Plath. And she goes, "Who's Olivia Plath?" And I go, that's exactly it, right? Like, I said, there's actually kind of quite a bit of stuff going on right now. And I'm choosing to do an Olivia Plath video. And she goes, "Why?" And I said, because I feel like this lip gloss is it's really heavily coated. And I don't have my reading glasses on, so hold on a second. I can't really see how heavily coated it is. Am I looking like Brittany Cartwright's mom from the Valley? The Valley. Oh my God, the Valley. Sheena Shea is out, and Lala and Tom Schwartz are in, and they are an official couple. Oh my God, like I feel like what is wrong in the world of Vanderpump Rules? Anyway, so I was like, well, this is what, I found this online, I saw this the other night, and I was like really interested in this, and so I want to talk about it. And I said, there's actually a lot of like stuff going online with like influencers and whatever. And she goes, "So when are you going to come back and start making those videos again instead of these, like," and she likes Sister Wives, instead of like the Sister Wives drama. And that she goes, and who, she said Agatha, and I go, Agatha. She goes, who's the girl that you're making a video about today? And I said, Olivia Plath. She's the almost ex-wife of Ethan Plath from Welcome to Plathville. And she goes, "I don't know that show." Now, this is not my friend Tanya Jean. My friend Tanya Jean has seen every episode of Welcome to Plathville. So anyway, so today's video is about Olivia Plath and Welcome to Plathville and her discussing her contract and her NDA and her very, very last time ever being on Welcome to Plathville, which is interesting because it insinuates that there could possibly be more seasons of Welcome to Plathville when this was supposedly the very last season of Welcome to Plathville. But we'll get into that in just a second. So, for all of those out there for all of you out there that are asking the exact same question as my friend, when are you bringing back the influencer drama? Listen, it's coming back next week. I am outlining videos that I'm going to make. Right now I have like 4 videos that I'm going to be filming next week. Probably pretty long videos, pretty long influencer drama videos. Because people are like, "Are you only doing TV drama over here?" No, I'm not just doing TV drama over here anymore. I will be doing some Sister Wives videos. I don't know that I'll be doing any more Welcome to Plathville videos. But if you're interested in Sister Wives or you're interested in Welcome to Plathville or reality TV coverage over on my Peter Watches TV channel, linked in the description box below, I am doing weekly coverage of Sister Wives reactions. I will continue to do Sister Wives drama over here from time to time. But every week, every Monday, I do Sister Wives reactions over my Peter Watches TV channel. And then I am also trying to catch up on the final season, supposedly the final season of Welcome to Plathville. I think I have 5 episodes left. The season finale was September 30th, so it was last week. And I'm watching each episode, and then I'm taking notes, and I'm doing reactions to it. They're fun. My reactions are fun. So, well, I think they are. I have a fun time doing them. So, if you're somebody that, well, a lot of people will say, like with Sister Wives and Welcome, they'll be like, "I don't even watch this show, but I love to watch your reactions." And that means so much to me. I appreciate it. So if you want to see those reactions, go over there and check that out. I think today my reaction on that channel is going to be about the TV show on Netflix, Wayward, because I finished that this weekend. So anyway, the influencer drama. The influencer drama will be here. It will be heavy, coming back next week. Okay. So anyway, today I wanted to do just this video because honestly, it was something that interests me. So I have watched every season of Welcome to Plathville up till now. Now, if you guys do not know what Welcome to Plathville is, Welcome to Plathville is a show about this evangelical conservative religious family named the Plaths. And when it started off, the mom and dad together, and I think there's like 10 kids in the family. I can't remember. The oldest daughter, she has opted out of being in the show. Her name is Hosanna. She chose to not be part of the show. So when it started, it was mainly focused on the older kids. It was mainly focused on Ethan and, Mariah, and Micah were the three that it was kind of focused on. And at that time, Ethan had just gotten married to Olivia Plath. And then Micah and Mariah were like moving out. They got their own apartment and things like that. I think that might have even been season 2 that happened. And then like the younger kids, like Lydia and her prayer closet. Oh my God. Do you ever watch a show and like something sounds so insane to you, but you kind of think like, oh my God, I kind of would like that. I can remember when Lydia wanted her prayer closet so bad, and then they finally got it to her, gave it to her, and she like just like cried her eyes out over Christmas. She's like, I got my prayer closet. I don't understand though, like, she just like, is a prayer closet where you just like, she taped like prayers up on the wall, and then she just sit in there and be like, ah. It kind of gave me Carrie vibes a little bit though, if you want to know the truth. Did you watch this show? Oh my God. When she would go in there, it was literally a closet. I mean, it literally was a closet. It had like a kneel bench on the end of it, and then she would write these prayers out, and then she would like tape them or pin them to the wall or something. Then she'd just sit in there and she'd just like, I guess, rock and pray for hours for her husband, Zach, that she now has. But I don't know what she was praying for there, but I've always loved Lydia. Lydia's always had a soft spot in my heart. But then I would watch it and I started thinking to myself, like when I watched Sister Wives, I thought, do I need a sister wife? Like, I think I kind of would like a sister wife. You know, just to go up to the swig and get a fountain pop with or something like that, or the gas station. If you had a sister wife, listen, fuck the husband. If you had a sister wife, you could just hang out with your sister wife, be like, you know, let's go up to the Five Below and the Dollar Tree. Let's go buy some candy and shit like that. And let's go get us a fountain pop. Yeah, fuck the husband. You just want a sister wife. So when I started watching this show and they gave Lydia her prayer closet, I was like, do I need a prayer closet? Like, it really started fucking with my head. I was like, do I need a prayer closet? Like, maybe I need a prayer closet. Not because I need to have a place to go pray, but, well, I probably do. But I was like, maybe I just need a place to get away from. I don't even think Lydia really cared about that prayer closet. She hasn't talked about it in seasons, okay? Well, actually, I think this season earlier, she did kind of reflect back on her prayer closet as being like one of her fondest memories. But I was like, I think I just need a place to go hide from the world every once in a while. No, I do. I think that's what Lydia, why she won that prayer closet. She's like, I think Lydia was like, I mean, Lydia is obviously the most devout person in the family. None of them go to church or do nothing religious anymore. It's like, none of these shows, like all these religious shows, once they get on a reality show, it's just like they, like REM said years ago, it's like they're losing their religion. Like they get on a reality show and then they no longer celebrate that religion anymore or practice that religion anymore. They don't. None of them do. Sister Wives, none of them do. Sister Wives, they were part of that Apostolic United Brethren Church. They don't ever, none of them are part of the church anymore. And in Welcome to Plathville, they don't ever talk about church or nothing churchy or godlike or anything. And so, but Lydia is the most devout. And so I think in retrospect, she just wanted that prayer closet because she was like, get me the way away from these fucking people. Like, I just need 5 minutes to myself. Because if Lydia wasn't in her prayer closet, then Kim, the mom, you know, she spent the majority of her time doing her makeup and her hair, even though they were like, you know, not supposed to wear makeup and do their hair. But that's what Kim did anyway. And she just kind of, if you look back on the first couple episodes, Kim would just kind of lean up against the kitchen counter and she'd be like, Lydia, clean those dishes. Lydia, make the dinner. And Lydia did everything. Lydia was, you know, this is where you hear these books come out, you know, years later. It's like My Life in the Prayer Closet by Olivia Plath. And it's like, sadly. And she's like, oh, I was forced to cook all these dinners. And that's why I really wanted the prayer closet so I could escape from my mom. And Kim's like flipping her hair back and forth. But anyway, then Kim and Barry got divorced, okay? Or they're not divorced yet. Their divorce is not final because they're fighting over the money. Like good Christians do, you know? They're fighting over the money and things like that. Okay. And then Ethan and Olivia, they were going through a divorce, okay? And then they just could not work things out. And what we got to see is that Ethan Plath is like one of the most misogynist, homophobic. He's just not a good person, okay? And basically said to Olivia, if you do not believe everything that I believe and you don't think the same way that I believe, then we can't be together. And really, the hardest part in watching it, this was last season. The hardest part, was it last season or was that when she moved to LA? Oh, that was 2 seasons ago. Because last year she was in LA and she was doing those like sex parties. Not those kind of parties. No, not like those kind of parties. But no, for real though, she had like a sex toy party. Do you remember that episode? I kind of was like, okay, like we want Olivia to step outside the box, but like, this is like, I don't even understand what's going on here. Listen, I'm all down for a good sex party. Not those kind of parties. Don't be dirty-minded. But listen, like a good sex toy. All my friends are women. You think I haven't been to one of them bachelorette sex toy parties? Anyway, come on. So, and then you always have to buy something, you know, and then anyway. But that was like her stepping out and things like that last season. So, I guess it was the season before. Did she go back and forth to Minnesota last season? I feel like she did. But anyway, basically, the saddest part was when Olivia really wanted kids. And so Ethan said, I would not have kids with someone that believed what you did. And she basically, I'm paraphrasing, because people always say, I said what he said. Basically what she said was, so what you're saying is you don't want to have kids with me. And he wouldn't really say it, but what he was saying was, unless you change how you feel, how you believe, you think misogynistically like me, you all this kind of stuff, then we can't be together. And so then they filed for divorce, but the divorce is still not final as of today. Now, Ethan also this season, he introduced his new girlfriend, Tegan, but they done broke up in February of 2025. But he liked her big boobies. He liked a girl with big boobies. He kept on talking about that the whole season, Tegan and her big boobies. But anyway, so that's kind of where we're at, okay? Well, this season, what we got to see was last season we got to see the introduction of Micah, the model. Now, Micah's the model of the show, okay? That Michael, the model, he started dating this girl named Veronica. Now, if you haven't heard my story, I met them at Ultra Music Festival. We stood in line with them for like 2 to 3 hours for the VIP section, okay? I thought it was Micah Plath. I was tying my shoe and I looked up and I was like, that is Micah Plath. We were standing with them. Like, he and Veronica and they're this other girl that they were with. We stood with them and talked. My husband talked to Veronica and her friend like for 2 hours straight. And so I looked up at him. He's real tall. And I was like, are you Micah Plath? And because I knew he lived in South Florida, and this is in Miami. And he goes, who's Micah Plath? And then she kind of looked over at me. They played it off so well. This is before she was on the show. This was 2 years ago. So this was before she had ever been introduced as his girlfriend on the show or anything. And she was dressed real cute. She had all like black on, and he had like black t-shirt, black jeans on. And then she had like little, Chanel like fanny pack and Chanel hat and all kind of stuff. But anyway, they were real matchy cute. So anyway, and I was like, Micah Plath, there's a TV show called, I was so dumb. I was like, there's a TV show called Welcome to Plathville. I watch it. And he was like, oh, and I go, you look like exactly like one of the kids named Micah Plath. He literally pulls out his phone. And he's like, which my husband later said to me, he's like, you do realize that there's like no reception at Bayfront during Ultra Music Festival. He like pulled out his phone. He's like Googling it. He's like, I can't find the show. What is it? I'm like, welcome. I'm like so confused at this point, right? And I'm like looking at the girl and I'm like, but I don't think he has a girlfriend is what I kept on thinking. And he's real tall. Like Micah Plath is really tall. I'm like 5'10", 5'11", and he was like, he must be like 6'2", because he was like tall. Which, is that tall? I don't know, 6'2", he's tall. And so, anyway, we ended up talking to them because she was like, do you mind like watching his space while my boyfriend goes to the bathroom? And we're like, no. And then we even like, somebody tried to cut in line and she's like, hey, that's not fair. And her and my husband were like, yelling at the security guard, like, get him out. It turned into this whole funny thing. They were really nice. And I ended up, they were like 10 feet in front of us, and I ended up taking a picture. It's a horrible picture. It's like, you can just kind of see the outline of Micah Plath at Ultra Music Festival, but I ended up taking a picture. So anyway, then we're watching the show, or I'm watching the show. My husband, he could care less about the show. And I'm like, oh my God, we literally talked to them. That's Veronica. That's the girl that we talked to at, when we were at Ultra Music Festival. He could care less. But anyway, so then she came on last season, all right? Well, now it's been painted this huge picture that Veronica's really problematic. Veronica's kind of made it her goal this season to basically out the Plath family as the worst family in the entire world, which is interesting because for the previous 6 seasons, production, now, if you have not watched any of my reactions, I have huge issues with TLC production, okay? TLC production will only show you what they want to show you. And so I've had huge issues with TLC production in the past because they paint a very fake facade of what the families in the shows are really like. They basically did it with Sister Wives for 16 seasons, okay? And it's interesting because what I'm going to talk about in here in this article, in the Sister Wife book by Christine Brown Woolley, one of Cody Brown's wives from Sister Wives that has left and she's remarried to David Woolley, she just recently wrote a book called Sister Wife. Now, I did my whole reaction to Sister Wife, the book, over on this channel. You can go back and look at it. So in that book, she's talking about when she meets with the executive producer to tell him that she is leaving Cody, okay? And that her and Cody sit down and talk to the executive producer. The executive producer gets very upset about it and basically is like, if this is how the show is going to go with all the wives leaving Cody, like this is not the direction that the show that I wanted it to go, which I think is really interesting because Sister Wives was like, the facade they put on is that we're this happy family, okay? But now that people are watching it, they're watching it for what a shit show Sister Wives has turned into. And that's the reality. It's just like, what lies are going to catch Robin and Cody in, and what did he do to the wives, and what's the truth, and why doesn't he have a relationship with the kids? I mean, it's turned into a shit show. Well, in the book, Christine shares that executive producer, I think his name was Tim, that he actually left the next season. He quit the show because he was like, this is not what I wanted the show to be about. Like, I wanted the show to be a representation of how a polygamous family, a plural family could really work. And now that it's not working, I don't want to be part of it. Well, it hadn't been working for years and years and years. And that's what we're seeing with the Plath family. Like, in my last video that I did about it, I talked about how, like, none of them even live in the same area. Like, Barry and Kim are separated. They're still not divorced over money. They live like hours away from each other. They share the girls, the younger girls, back and forth. Micah lives in South Florida with Veronica, but now they're broken up. Ethan's in Minnesota. You know, Olivia's not even on the show anymore. Lydia and her husband, Zach, are traveling all around the world. So, like, and Mariah lives wherever she goes from one house to the next and is in Georgia and Florida. And so, they're not any of them together. So, the show is fake, okay? The show is completely fake. Because then they all get together. Like, Ethan takes off 3 months because he wants to spend time with his siblings. And he's like 25 or 26. Like, you didn't spend any time with your siblings when you were younger. Why is it so important to you now that you're 25 or 26? And then they try to build it into the storyline of, like, he didn't really have a relationship with Lydia because when he says that he doesn't like her fiance, she's like, well, we never really got to know each other, meaning she and Ethan. And so they're trying to build it into that, like, this is why it's important to get to know my siblings now. But the only reason Ethan wants to get to know his siblings is because when he walks in the door, they all are like, Ethan, they fawn over him, and it builds his ego. The ego of the men in this family is disgusting, okay? Like, I mean, this is literally like, you're seeing Duggar 2.0 is what you're seeing in the Plath family. Well, they came out and they said, and so Veronica is like outing everybody, and then she and Olivia had this conversation early in the season, and then Olivia, I just did this video recently, came out and said, I'm not friends with Veronica. I don't side with what she's doing. She's doing bullying. She's outing Micah. She was saying stuff that, like, men were sending money to Micah, insinuating that he was doing things with men for money, whatever. And so Olivia was like, I'm not about that. She's like, you can't be calling out bullying behavior and be a bully in the same moment. And she's like, so I just want to make it very clear, I'm not friends with Veronica. And that was the last thing that I covered over here. Okay, so since then, well, during all that time, they have from the very beginning of the season said, this is the 7th and final season of Welcome to Plathville. Now, I wondered if you watched the previous seasons, like last season, it was kind of like Olivia finding her new self and, like, Ethan talking about what single life was, and Ethan was, like, so sad and depressed that he and Olivia hadn't made it together and whatever. And the season before that, like, the most chaotic thing that had happened was that Ethan and Olivia had gotten, it was the downfall of their relationship. But that was about as, like, volatile as the show got. Like, they didn't even really go into detail about Kim and Barry's divorce. Like, that happened in between seasons, and they didn't even really share a whole lot about it. This season, we found out that Kim had gotten a DUI and, like, went into this program and all this kind of stuff, and they never mentioned it on the show. Like, there's so many things they have never mentioned on the show. Like, Mariah having this relationship with this guy that was supposedly this horrible relationship. They never get into the details of that, right? So this season, Olivia and Veronica on social media have had a lot to say. Had a lot to say on TikTok and Instagram and things like that about this. So I was kind of wondering if this season is so different, it is so chaotic, it is so messy, it is really showing the true nature. I mean, there's no way you can even watch one episode and be like, I mean, it's embarrassing to watch it. And I'm not even to the parts yet where Veronica is a shit show, but apparently Veronica just becomes a complete shit show. It is supposedly, like, what I've watched so far, I think I've watched 5 episodes. It is so, I've got 5 episodes left. It is so messy towards the end that, like, it is so completely different from how the past seasons have been. I'm like, are they doing this to get the ratings up so that they can get an 8th season? Because this is what we saw with Sister Wives, okay? When Sister Wives, the ratings were going down, was basically the move to Flagstaff. Was when they moved from Vegas to Flagstaff, okay? So you don't know what conversations are going on in the background, what NDAs are signed. I knew they had an NDA. I knew that they had contracts that they signed. When Olivia came out, and I just covered this, you can go back and watch the video, she did this TikTok, and this is where she's addressing her not being friends with Veronica anymore, okay? And in that TikTok, she said, I'm not going to ruin any storylines. Well, at that point, I even said in my video, not having known anything that's come out now, I said, I wonder if she's still under contract or an NDA that she can't ruin storylines, because I don't think that Olivia would care about ruining story. Like, why would you care? I said, if it was me, I'd be like, peace out. Like, fuck you. I'm going to tell all the secrets of the Plath family. Truly, like, she's been treated like shit. Olivia has been treated like shit by this entire family. While she was married to Ethan, before she married Ethan, and after she was married to Ethan. She's been very decent to them. And they have, like, treated her like shit. Especially Kim, the mom. So I'm like, this is, and Mariah was a shit to her as well. So I'm like, and then Ethan stood up for her a long time, then stopped standing up for her. So I was like, when I watched that TikTok, I was like, she must be in some heavy NDA. So that was what got me interested in this, right? Because Veronica is saying all kinds of stuff online. So I'm like, is she not tied to an NDA? Was Veronica like, I'm not signing an NDA? So then I saw these articles all start popping up about Olivia with the season finale, which was September 30th coming out. After that, she said that was the last time she will ever film in the Plaths. And I'm like, well, first of all, this was supposed to be the very last season, number one. So why would you ever film again? Because there aren't going to be any more seasons. So is this a test season to see if we make it fucking messy? Then we're going to get more seasons because the viewership will be up. Because honestly, this is the first time since watching the Plaths that anybody has ever sent me receipts. And weekly, I get sent receipts about Veronica and Olivia and Micah. People, I mean, this is like, it's gone crazy on social media that people are talking about the Plaths. This is the first time ever that they've done this. So I started seeing all this stuff come up about Olivia and contracts and her NDA, non-disclosure agreement, which means she can't speak. And the non-disclosure agreement could be like one that's written to like ad infinitum or whatever, which means forever. You just don't know how it's written. And when she signed her initial NDA, she probably was like very young and naive. I mean, we've seen Olivia grow up on TV basically and become not as naive as she once was. So who knows what NDA she signed. But anyway, this article is from Us Magazine, and it says, welcome to Plathville'S. Olivia claims she worked hard to get out of show contract, but still has an NDA. Olivia Plath declared herself free from reality TV more than 1 year after she filed for divorce from Welcome to Plathville'S Ethan Plath. This episode, and she's talking about the very last episode on season September 30th. This episode was filmed a while ago. Olivia, 27, announced via her Instagram story on Tuesday, September 30th, noting that her final episode on the TLC series is tonight's season 7 finale. Now, what's interesting to me about that, and maybe this is just a misprint by Us Magazine, is that they call it the season 7 finale instead of the series finale, which I think that's kind of an interesting mishap to make. Us Magazine has covered this show closely this year. So everybody knows that this is the series finale. The fact that they call it the season finale and not the series finale is interesting to me. I know it's a small thing, but it's just, maybe they know something we don't know. She then claimed, and since then I've worked hard to get out of my contract and succeeded. Olivia and Ethan, 27, he's almost 30 years old, and he wants to spend 3 months hanging out with his 8-year-old siblings. That's just such a storyline that he like leaves. Who can leave their job for 3 months from Minnesota? I just think that's interesting. Announced her divorce in October 2023. After 5 years of marriage, she filed for divorce the following February. Wait, did it say he? They announced, okay, and then she filed for divorce in February afterwards. Olivia, who made her reality TV debut during the 2019 premiere of the TLC series, explained, "I have not only endeavored to distance myself from hate and bullying, but also reported harmful behavior and tried to stand up for what is right." And I wonder if she means to TLC. This will be interesting if she comes out later after the show is done and sues like TLC. Because there's been a lot of claims of that with like the kids and the wives from Sister Wives. It's going to be interesting to see like a lot of these TLC shows, and I love the TLC shows, but they show a false representation. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I'm wondering if that's something we're going to start seeing down the road but they sign contracts. So if they sign contracts, I'm sure there's litigation agreements in the contracts that they can't sue the show, but who is she reporting the harmful behavior to? Law enforcement or TLC? Olivia slammed the trajectory of the Welcome to Plathville, saying, "It sickens me," and this is where it's interesting that they switched everything about the show, because she's slamming how they switched the show. "It sickens me to see violence, hatred, and dysfunction presented as entertainment," seemingly referring to ex-husband Ethan's family's ups and downs during recent seasons. Well, it's really just this season. Olivia butted heads with Ethan's family prior to the tumultuous breakup and has since opened up about the alleged DV and abuse she faced during their marriage. She previously claimed in March via Instagram that Ethan threatened to shoot her friends who he thought were influencing me to be more liberal and would spit on her face and back me into corners during arguments. Us Weekly has reached out to TLC for comment and previously reached out to Ethan about the allegations. Although Olivia was most absent from this season of the reality show, she will appear on the finale to discuss finalizing her divorce from Ethan. She reflected on her time with the network and the family on Tuesday. And then she posted this whole thing. Hold on a second. This is going to stop in just a second, so hold on. Okay, so then she posted this thing and she talked to them and said, "When I look back at the last 7 years of my life on the show, I feel so many emotions," she shared via her Instagram story. "In many ways, I grew up with all of you watching and supporting me. I was a sheltered, newly married, fundy kid when the show started and fundamental kid is what she's talking about, and had no clue who I was." Olivia I think, in all honesty, watching the show, and I don't come from a fundamental Christian background, but I do think that Olivia represents a inspiration to a lot of people who have left fundamental evangelical churches, because I think that she still holds true to some of her root beliefs, and she still tries to be a good person. I'm not saying that she doesn't mess up from time to time, but like even in her TikTok talking about Veronica, like the reason why she doesn't want to be friends with Veronica or associated is because if you're going to call out like homophobic behavior or bullying, then you can't be doing the same thing, is basically what she says. I mean, she holds herself to a standard that she holds other people to, and I respect that. And I think she's a good example of how to find yourself. She also I mean, I was joking about like the sex thing that she did, the sex party or whatever, but it was very tame. And we really got to see last season, like Olivia really trying to find out who she is, interacting with her sister a lot. We got to see her sister a lot last season. And we've gotten to see Olivia grow up. I agree with the statement. Olivia recalled the last 7 years have had their respective challenges, and there were definitely moments I didn't think I'd see the other side, but I'm here to prove myself wrong. The TV personality, who is now dating a man named Brendan, confessed, "This chapter closing brings some sadness." Olivia then seemingly spoke about Ethan's changes since their divorce, writing, "It's sad for me to see who I once knew, what they had the potential to become, and the path that they chose instead. It could have been so different." I mean, she's very respectful. She acknowledged, "And if it had been different, I wouldn't be where I am today. Grateful for this journey and all that it taught me." Despite distancing herself from the show and the Plaths over the last year, Olivia told her followers she was planning to celebrate the end of this era with a fan Q&A. Good for her. In lieu of closing this chapter, "I'm going to take some questions from you," she concluded. "I still have an NDA, but I will answer everything that I can and be as transparent as possible." Well, my question would be how long is that NDA, Olivia? And please, are you going to put out a book? That would be a book I would love to read. So anyway, she's out of her contract, so she is done with the show if it goes forward. And I'm really wondering if there's going to be a season 8 to Welcome to Plathville, because so much has come out. And they just brush it under the rug. They just act like all these they don't ever address the allegations, really. I mean, Veronica does this season, and I even though I haven't watched the episodes, I do know what's going on with Veronica and the family and them confronting her in the season finale and all that. And then Olivia and Ethan talking about the divorce and whatnot. But anyway, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.